Hey you guys, it's Dante with more of my comedy tips, and we are interviewing comedians at the San Luis Obispo Comedy Festival, and this gentleman and I have known each other for quite a long time. Long time. He's a very, very funny comedian, Bronston Jones.
Hey everybody, Bronston. I have a couple comedy tips. One is it's one thing, I will defy what most comics say, don't go out 7 nights a week and do comedy. Have 1 night a week at least where you're going out into the real world and experiencing life, and so you have something to talk about.
That's a great tip.
Because so many comics, you get so addicted to this that they go out 7 nights a week, and you'll notice those comics are only talking about what other comedians are talking about.
Right, because they don't have a life.
Yeah. So go out.
Great piece of advice.
Live a life, have something to talk about. And people are like, well, how do you, because I change over, like I'm doing Edinburgh again for the 8th year, and it's a new hour every year.
Congrats.
And people are like, how do you write like that? And I go, I talk about what I think about. So whatever I'm thinking about all the time, like if I'm in super political mode, my act turns very political. If I'm super whoring mode, I talk about sex. And because a lot of comics, they're like, oh, that's a funny thing I just saw. I should talk about it on stage. And you're like, why? If you're not thinking about it all day, why would you start thinking about it all day now?
Right.
So that. And then with the technical stuff, because I know other people talk about where to hold the mic, etc. I'm definitely right on the chin kind of a guy. Get the microphone stand and move it behind you.
Thank God someone said that.
One of the most annoying things in the world is when the stand is just there, and it's so. I mean, obviously you can see people around it, but it's just annoying. It's between you and the crowd.
Right, and you're standing behind it like an asshole. Right.
What is it, a defense match? Is that going to save you from them?
I judged a comedy contest. I'm so glad you brought this up. And the guy who would have won lost because he kept the stand in front of him and had everyone else took it and put it behind him. Yeah. And because he didn't do that, I could not let him win. I just couldn't.
Yeah. What else? If you're bombing, because it happens, is don't start stepping on your punchlines. Don't speed up. Don't start. You do the punchline. You're like, you know what I mean? Don't end your fucking joke and then slow down. Actually slow down and let them know that you're okay up there. And another thing is...
It's a great piece of advice as well.
Physically move towards them, because your body is going to go into like a danger mode, and you watch comics who are eating it, they start moving backwards and backwards and backwards until they hit the back wall. And that's because your body actually thinks that this is a true danger. But if you start stepping into it, you're telling your body, I'm safe.
Yep.
You're also telling the audience that you're not afraid.
That's a great piece of advice. You can't ever be afraid on stage. Even if you are, you can't ever let them see. But you should never be afraid. That's your stage. You own it. They're there to see you. That's your boxing ring, you know? Right?
Yeah, it is. And learn how to host. Hosting, I think, is the best way to learn how to be a stand-up comic, because you can't.
So many people have said that today. It's the truth.
Yeah.
It is. That is one of the best gigs to have.
I am way, way, way better, because I've hosted because my show in Venice is now 430, and I've probably hosted 370 of them.
Wow.
I've hosted over 200 shows over in Edinburgh. And it's just like, when you learn to host, is you realize that you're not supposed to be the funniest guy in the room. You're supposed to be the most charming. You're throwing a party. These are all your guests.
Right.
And you're bringing other guests up.
And you are the funniest person in the room. You're the life of the party that they all want to be around.
You're at my house, man.
Right. And now see my funny friends.
And then people are always like, oh, I don't host anymore. I don't have to do that. In the UK and in Canada, the host is actually probably better than most headliners.
Of course, and they should be.
Yeah.
They should be. That's the most important spot. It really is. If you have a bad host, the whole show can go to shit.
Oh, yeah.
I go to clubs on the road, and some of the clubs they're still doing good. I don't know why they're doing this, but they are letting open micers open the show, and guys who've done it 3 years feature, and I'm like, I get up there and it's so rough digging my way out.
You have to host for yourself.
Right, because all they did was the first hour was killed by these guys. Just killed. No one laughed.
And then if you're one of these comics who goes, I graduated from hosting, I don't think it's worth my time, I just want a headline. Let me ask you a question. Do you call it The Late Show, or do you call it Jimmy Kimmel? Do you call it Fallon? Do you call it Letterman? Do you call it Conan? You're calling it by the host's name.
Correct.
Hosting is not something to be looked down upon, and it's fun as shit, dude.
Yeah, and you grow so fast because you're in front of the same audience. If you have your own room, you have to bring it each week. And it really, really is the best tool. It really is. It gets you good so quickly. It makes you talk to the crowd, and kind of like what he was saying, when you get nervous and you back away and you move forward, they're more present with you. When you look them right in the eyes, when you go to a concert and the famous person on stage looks you in the eye, you sit up straight, right?
You feel like you're feel like a hero.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, it's so funny. Even though I'm a comedian, when another comedian goes, "Hey, Bronston's in here," they do that. I'm always like,
Oh, shit! Oh, you better sit up, and everybody's gonna look at me. I know,
Yeah.
me too, of course.
But that's because we're attention.
But
whores. We're slowing that
imagine
into this.
how they feel because we already get attention all the time.
Yeah.
They must be like, oh God, I'm part of the show. I better sit up.
Yeah.
And they're out for a fun night and they've showered and
And don't yell at a crowd because the room's empty. That's not their fault. They're
ever.
there.
They're there. Those are your friends, not your enemies.
Yeah.
Great advice, man.
What
What's your
else?
social?
Bronston Jones, Bronston Jones. And if you're ever in Venice Beach on a Wednesday, come check out my show.
Where is it?
Venice Underground at Townhouse.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right.